Welcome to Exploration Overland. My name is Zach, and in today's video, guys, I'm going to take you on a bit of a different style of an adventure video. I recently went on an adventure into southern Utah with Rudy. It did not go well, as in at all. It was kind of catastrophic and it wasn't fun. But I did do some filming. Unfortunately, Mother Nature did not play nicely with us, so filming the whole thing became difficult and the story kind of got broken up here and there. So I'm here to start off this video and to help fill in the gaps of the video and try and make this as entertaining as possible for you guys, because I did do a lot of filming of certain things and didn't do a lot of filming of others. And as I said, the trip, Mother Nature was a very big pain in the butt. And due to that, issues arose, weather went crazy, campfires decided to relight themselves, and the Jeeps decided to do whatever the hell they wanted. So, let's begin this video with where the whole trip started, which was in southern Utah's Sand Hollow area. So as I stated at the beginning, we are out here in Sand Hollow, and by we, I mean I have my friend Rudy. He is with me once again for another adventure to a place that we both have never explored. I have never explored the area of Sand Hollow before. I'm very excited to be able to get to go and explore the area of Sand Hollow, and it should be a ton of fun. Right now, we are currently starting the East Rim Trail. So we started off technically on like the Warner Road, took it all the way across over to where it meets the East Rim Trail. And that is what we are starting on today. We are gonna see just what lays in store. We have some high wind advisory for later this afternoon. So we will see just how bad the winds get. They predict between 35 to 40 mile an hour. So that could be a doozy. But we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna get out here. We're gonna just tackle these trails one at a time to see what we can do. I have some marked out on here. I know there are a ton of trails out here in Sand Hollow that you can do. The ones we are gonna do is going to allow us to get a little flexy, have a little bit more fun, but without damaging things, hopefully. That is always the goal. So let's get into this trail. trail is rewarding. That climb right there, oh, this has been so fun to just get it a little flexy. It's nothing difficult. It's like being in Moab, you know, just you get to think differently about how you attack the trail. You get to pay attention more and things. It is a bit more of a challenge though, trying to do this all and fly the drone at the same time. Adds an even bigger challenge to it, but boy, we are in heaven and I am loving this trail. What a fantastic day, and it's barely 66 degrees outside supposedly. Oh, it's a beautiful day.
Tip over, man. Okay, so now I can't get the seatbelt undone.
Yo, fuck the seatbelt. You know what's funny?
What?
Your driver's side tire isn't even touching the ground.
This one?
No, that one. Your driver's side.
No, man. What do I do?
Put it in reverse and go down slowly. Put it in reverse. Foot on the brake and let it off slowly.
And just keep going straight back.
Just go straight back. I'll tell you when you need to turn.
The minute I take it out of gear, it's gonna
Just,
go.
it's fine. Put your foot on the brake, it won't move.
I have it on.
All right, put it in reverse. See, it didn't move.
So what now?
Reverse back. Let off the brake a little bit. Let it just roll. You're good.
Just keep going?
Yep. You're fine. Keep going. Keep going. All right, start turning your tire.
Like this?
Yep, right there. Don't turn it anymore. Just let it roll. You're fine. You're not gonna roll. Just keep going. Nice and easy. It's about to have no traction. There you go. And look at that. All worried for nothing.
I told you, you were worried.
Oh, Lord. He's never gonna live this down.
That all about?
I don't know. What was that all about? Ooh, Rudy had a little moment. Oh, it's the little things in life that make me laugh that I'll get to always throw back at him. Okay, he's way over there now. We're back here. Now, I'm going to jump in here and speak to you guys on and off. Sand Hollow was awesome. I've never been to the Sand Hollow area. I've driven past it so many times, and I just was so excited to go there, and it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, if you have not been to Sand Hollow, you need to go. If you are not looking to do a lot of hard trails, you can still find trails to do. You just have to be aware. And two, it's like side-by-side heaven. And honestly, the side-by-sides are really polite. They were actually really nice for the most part. We didn't run into really any rude people. So we didn't mind. And honestly, I think we shocked some of the side-by-sides because we just kind of appear in these big lumbering Jeeps with rooftop tents and everything. So it was fun. But Sand Hollow didn't quite go as planned in the sense of the weather was supposed to be bad for one of the days. We were supposed to be there for like 2 or 3-ish days, tackling some trails and just hanging out. And the weather was supposed to be really, really windy the first day, which it was. It got stupid windy. But it was supposed to die off, and it didn't. Mother Nature decided, no, we are going to stay windy into the next day. And the rest of the week is what the forecast then predicted, with some rain scattered in there. So Rudy and I had to make some executive decision making. We could either sit there in Sand Hollow, which it's called Sand Hollow for a reason, and get sand blasted by Mother Nature and keep getting sand in places that shouldn't have sand, or we could go somewhere else. Now, the issue becomes is we could have gone anywhere we wanted. The world was our oyster. We could go anywhere. The question became where. We could have gone to northern Arizona. Rudy has never done that adventure that I did over a year ago to the Grand Canyon, and it would have been a lot of fun, but a lot of just scenic driving, not a lot of technical thinking, and the weather was going to be way colder than southern Utah, though we had diesel heaters. But I mean, night temperatures were in the low 20s. And I was like, I don't know if I wanted to wake up to that. And it was supposed to be really, really rainy over there. So we're like, we thought about going to Nevada early. Issue with that was Rudy already had come through Nevada to get to St. George. He didn't really want to backtrack, and to be honest, I didn't want to make him backtrack just to go to Nevada. So we didn't do that. So we decided Moab. And the reason for Moab was because I've done a bunch of trails in Moab. I've gone to Moab over 20 times. Rudy has not really wheeled in Moab minus our last trip, the last true Moab adventure. So we decided Moab, we'll hit some more technical trails. I'll take him on these trails that he can do. He'll love the view, the whole 9 yards. So that's what we decided to do. However, Mother Nature decided on something else. Well, good morning, guys, to another beautiful day in southern Utah. Now, last night we found camp, and it was very windy. It took us about 2.5 hours to find camp because we were just searching left, right, and center to try and find a spot that gave us some protection. And we did find some. But it didn't stop necessarily the wind. It just wasn't quite as sandy, which was nice. It wasn't blowing dirt up into our faces. It was just really windy. And it was like that all night. All night long, it was over 30-mile-an-hour winds into this morning. Henceforth, why I'm talking to you here in the Jeep as we are moving, because you guys would never have been able to hear me, not even with the wireless mic. I tried it. It did not pan out very well. So that was that. Today, Rudy and I had made some decisions last night and this morning because our trip had to be altered a little bit. And this is why. So originally, Sand Hollow, doing stuff, and then we were going to go a little further east and go check out some trails over by the Colorado River. Unfortunately, those trails are not quite ready to be driven yet. There's a lot of snow because some of those trails did go through some of the mountains. It's just a lot of snow. Yes, there are trails that can be done over there, but I have done those. So I wanted to do these other trails that I have never done before. So we're not going to be able to do that. So we had to sit there and ponder what it is we wanted to do, because we could go pretty much anywhere. We thought about going to northern Arizona by the Grand Canyon, which I did and took you guys last year. But the weather isn't going to be really great down there. So a few things we took into consideration was weather, not necessarily the temperatures, just rain, wind, things like that. And then also what it is that we really would like to do on this adventure. Because for the most part, we have completed most of what we wanted to do here in Sand Hollow. We've explored the whole Sand Mountain area. We have explored all of this Warren. We are back on the Warren Road, Warren Valley Road, because this is where we camped. We've explored this whole area, and we've did most of the trails that we were willing to do in the Jeep here that don't involve breaking things. So what we have decided to do is we have one more trail that we want to do here in Sand Hollow. I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head. Oh, it's Samsonite. I do remember the name off the top of my head. We do want to tackle that trail. And then after that, we have made the decision to go Moab. So we are going to head over to Moab because we would still like to tackle some fun obstacles, tackle some trails, not just be on these long driving adventure trails. We love them, but this time, because we started off here and just getting some flexiness and crawling over a few rocks here and there, we want to continue that. So what's going to happen is this morning we are going to go over and do Samsonite. From there, we will air up, stop in the town, refuel, and shoot over to Moab. And we're going to have some fun. We have the whole week to do a bunch of different trails in Moab. Though I have done quite a good handful of these trails, Rudy hasn't done very many trails over there. The last ones, the only ones he's done is from our trip last year. So we are gonna have some fun. All right, good morning, guys. So, welcome to Moab. We drove about 5 hours yesterday to get out here to Moab, and when we got out here, the weather was crap. It snowed on us, hailed on us, rained on us, and was extremely windy for probably the first 3 hours of our time in Moab. And all we did was Dome Plateau Trail to get up to camp. And we are camping up on top of one of the ridges because of this. This is one of my favorite campsites. Don't ask me about it. I'm not telling you where it is. You have to come find it yourself. But this is why we camped here. It's just such a beautiful spot, beautiful view. Loved it. And it was cold last night. I mean, it was less than 24 degrees last night. So we had those diesel heaters cranked and going. So what is the plan? Since we had to, as I told you guys before, change our plans. What is the new plan? So we're gonna have some fun here in Moab. We have the entirety of the week to just come out here and explore. Now, don't get me wrong, in this video you're going to probably see some trails that I've been on before. Rudy's never been on some of these trails, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to film, like always, the best I can. Like I said, I didn't have the big tripod, so I can't just set up the camera necessarily and capture those moments, but I'm going to do my best. But today, and on itself, we are going to start by coming off of the Dome Plateau area, and we're going to start with Top of the World Trail this morning, because Rudy's never stuck his Jeep on that ledge. So we're gonna have some fun and do that. Then afterwards, we're gonna go hunt for another trail. And every day our goal is to start finding camp at around 3:30, be done hopefully by 4:30. Don't wanna be driving anymore. We just wanna hang out, enjoy camp, have a fire. We had a fire last night. It was so nice. So that's the goal. But right now, as you can tell, we're slowly cleaning up. We had breakfast this morning. We've taken our time. We've been hanging out. Yeah, it's been a great morning. It's been absolutely beautiful out. But it is time to finish packing up the Jeep so we can get ourselves on the trail, because it is now 8 o'clock in the morning. We're burning a little bit of daylight, and we'd like to get onto some of these trails before the few people that are in Moab start getting out here. Yeah, she was a vengeful woman that decided to follow us all the way to Moab. Snow, sleet, rain, crap. On the way to Moab, Rudy's Jeep decided it didn't want to work anymore and threw up an error code, kind of like the Jeep did going to Southern California, where it said the throttle body error and it wouldn't go faster than like 50 miles an hour, if that. When we stopped and I pulled out the code reader, oh boy, his Jeep was yelling about the turbo, the throttle controller, the throttle speed sensor. Oh my God, it was just like pissed. We don't know why. And I couldn't clear the codes. But we were able to clear at least the throttle controller code so that he could go highway speed to Moab, because we were less than an hour outside of Moab at this point. And if we could get him there, at least we have a parking lot, not the side of the interstate, to putz with his Jeep. And so it took a little bit of effort and research to reset his computer, because nothing was actually wrong. And so we did. Oh, top of the world. How I love that trail, and how that trail cheesed me off something fierce this trip. It all spanned from the Jeep just not sitting the way it normally does with its suspension lift, and we have determined it is a component with the Jeep that you guys will find out in a future video. Alright, top of world. We are finally on the trail, and it's been a little interesting. The trail is I did this last year, beginning of last year. It was probably a little bit later. I think it was May last year I came out here and did this. Some of the little steps have gotten a little worse, as in they're a little more carved out, so they're deeper of a step than I remember. I could be wrong, but there's been a few spots already where I'm like, I don't remember it being this much of a challenge. Like, as in the amount of oomph that it takes to pop the Jeep up. I don't recall it. But nonetheless, we're having fun. I know Rudy's having a blast because he doesn't get the Jeep flexed out or climbing things very often, so I know he's having an absolute blast of a time, because this is making him think big time. Now, I saw some people up ahead of us, and I'm hoping they're a little ways up there, but I'm hoping that they look like they were stopped, that either they were camping or just hanging out, and they're not at that massive step, and there's a bunch of them. That's my hope. We will find out once we get up there. Also, wow, there was a ton of people on top of the world. And as we climbed, it went okay. But once we got to the top, there was probably about 20 Broncos up there. A professional photo taker, you know, a photographer, and they were all in line along with some other people that had done the trail that day to get their photo on top of the rock. I mean, wow, it was ridiculous the amount of people up there, and the fact that they had a professional photographer to take a picture of their car. I think people have lost the beauty of Top of the World Trail. They all just want to get to the top to have this lovely picture of their car at the top, and they don't give a crap about other people and the area around them. So it was frustrating. On the way down, we decided, if you've seen the Top of the World Trail, you go up one way and then it kind of turns into a balloon or a lollipop. We went up the right-hand side, down the left, if you're looking at a map. The left has gotten bad. So I did this trail a little while ago, a year ago, and the trail wasn't this bad. It was super bad. It was so bad, and we ran into an issue. And by issue, I mean I nearly rolled the Jeep. Yes, no filming happened, and this is why. So we were coming down, and I was trying to get the Jeep to go off of a rather large ledge step, and I was coming down, and I was trying to maneuver the driver's side of the Jeep so that it would come down, so that it wouldn't necessarily, you know, just drop completely. And as I did so, the Jeep slipped off of a spot and it teetered. And the way it was teetering was, it was teetering off of the driver's side front wheel and the passenger side rear wheel. The driver's side butt of the Jeep was up in the air, and the passenger side tire wasn't on the ground. Front tire wasn't on the ground. So she was teetering, and she was leaning hard to the passenger side. I mean, hard as in, I was screaming out the window for Rudy because I couldn't move. I was holding myself mostly almost out the window to counter the weight of the Jeep, because when I tried moving, the Jeep listed to the passenger side even worse. And I couldn't reach the radio, and Rudy's, you know, trying to tell me stuff and to stop moving, and I can't respond to him, so I'm yelling out a window, hoping he can hear me over his Jeep, because I couldn't grab the radio. It got bad. And Rudy doesn't have a winch on the Jeep, on his Jeep. So we had to figure out how he was going to get, you know, I knew off the bat the butt of the Jeep had to be brought back down to stop it from wanting to flip over. Because I tried having Rudy standing on the back and it didn't do anything. That's how high up the Jeep was. And as he got off, the Jeep really listed hard. Like, I thought I was going at that point. I braced and it kind of stopped, but it didn't come back down. So thankfully, as I've preached to you guys, having your recovery gear available is essential. That recovery box, let me show you. The recovery box here on the Jeep was my saving grace. What's in the recovery box? Well, a tree strap. And what is that going to do? Well, the recovery point on the back of the Jeep is the driver's side. Driver's side's up in the air. Tree strap around that, and around a recovery point on the front of Rudy's Jeep, he can slowly back up and pull the butt down. The challenge was, Rudy is over 6 feet tall. The Jeep was taller than Rudy. And I mean, by taller, I mean Rudy's head barely hit the bottom of the recovery box. And if you need to think what that is, bottom of the recovery box, me standing next to it, I'm 5'11". Rudy normally is taller than it. This was taller than Rudy. So Rudy had to unlock, try and unclip all 4 latches to pull out the recovery gear, to pull out the bag that has the tree strap in it. Oh, I'm glad it was in there, first off, because he was able to get it, and that's why I put my recovery gear on the outside of the Jeep. But Rudy got it attached. Then Rudy had to try and back uphill, up a rock step, to pull the Jeep back down. This is how bad it was. Rudy had to lock out all 4 wheels. He had to put all 4 lockers on, because as he tried pulling, he was just kicking dirt up and losing traction in different tires. And once he locked it, he was spinning all 4 tires, digging a hole to eventually give himself enough crap in front of the wheel that it popped himself up and helped pull me down. Yeah, it was a hairy about 25 minutes we sat there in this predicament. And just like I couldn't touch the radio, I couldn't touch a camera to show you guys. Rudy thought about it. I'm glad he didn't, but he almost wanted to take a picture to show how bad it was. Part of me wishes he would have, just because then I would have had proof for you guys. However, I'm glad he didn't, because I was freaking out like a little girl in the driver's seat. Wasn't panicking in a sense of screaming. I was clear-minded, but boy, I locked up hard when I thought this thing was going to roll. And she almost did. We almost rolled her onto the passenger side. Thankfully, there wasn't a cliff off of it, but it would have rolled and it would have damaged a lot and broken a lot of things if it would have. If we came this close, I scraped by on the hair of my teeth. And then the rest of the day was kind of killed for us. We got down. It took us way longer than it ever should have to get to the bottom of Top of the World. And then we went to find camp. Now, the campsite I chose is at an end of a trail. If you're in the Top of the World area, because that's where it was, if you look on a map, whether it's Onyx or Gaia, you'll find it. I'm not telling you. Literally, the trail goes and ends. It's over by Rose Garden Hill. There you go. There's your hint. We went all the way out there. Beautiful evening. It cooled off a little bit. It was so nice. Made a campfire. Oh, so wonderful. We went to bed, and at 1 in the morning, Mother Nature decided, hi, I'm here. And the wind was over 45 miles an hour, hitting our tents, making the Jeeps not sway, like just... And I woke up, and I opened up my tent, and all I see are flames. Our doused campfire that we completely smothered with water and then covered with dirt had relit itself. And it was just flames going ballistic in the wind. Oh, I scrambled out of that tent so fast it wasn't funny. Oh, we got out. I got more water. We doused it even more. It went out. We threw more dirt on it. And at 1 in the morning, we decided to pack up camp. Because I wasn't sleeping. Rudy was just awake hanging out in the tent, but for me it wasn't comfortable. So we packed up camp. During packing up camp, the fire relit again. That's how bad the wind was. And I dumped, I don't know how many gallons of water on this fire, stamped on it, recovered it with more dirt, circled the dirt within the ashes. We finally got it out. It took a while. But we packed up camp and we did a night run. All the way from camp back to the road over where Dome Plateau is and the beginning of Top of the World. Oh, it was actually a lot of fun. All our lights were on, just cruising, saw some cows. That was about the excitement. And then that day, we had a debate. We got into town and we had a debate what to do because a massive storm was coming. And I know how Moab gets when it's really wet and gross and stormy. It just becomes difficult to do anything. So we decide, all right, we're going to do some trails. We're going to still try and salvage the trip. We go on a few trails. One of them ends in White Rim Canyon, and the snow just opens up, and we are on the cliffs of White Rim Trail coming out of the canyon up. and it's just snowing and slippery, and the Jeeps are sliding. I ended up having to recover myself because I literally, as I was rounding a corner, the Jeep just slid off into one of the ditches next to the canyon wall, and I couldn't get out. It was a day. I recovered myself probably about 4 times that day in Moab with the winch. Rudy's making tallies and keeping track of how many times he's had to recover me. It was bad. I was covered in mud. And then we went and did 7-Up Trail. It's like rated at a 4, super simple. This big girl was struggling on every little climb. Just the tires couldn't get grip. She just kept bellying. Rudy would waltz right up. I had to recover myself. The snow just kept coming down, and it turned to winter mix. Oh, it was so miserable. And then we went and found camp. We found camp real early, and we went to one of my first campsites I ever went to in Moab. It's a pre-made campsite just off the Gemini Bridge Trail, closer to the 191. And we got there at like 2, real early, because the tents were wet. I was exhausted from being up so early. I just had enough. Get to camp, we chill. It was such a nice night. Such a great night's sleep. Oh, it was so nice. And then we ended the trip. We decided that night that we were done because I looked at the forecast and Moab was not going to get nicer. It wasn't until, because it was coming into the weekend, it wasn't until the following week Moab was going to get nice and the trip was going to be over by then. So we ended the trip and headed for home the next day. And I'm glad I did, because honestly, this trip had frazzled me. I was worn out, exhausted. It was just such a bad weather, irritating trip. But I was glad we did it. And the reason I was glad we did it is we didn't just throw in the towel. We didn't wuss out just because it was crappy ass weather. We decided to push through and try and make the most of it. And we had some laughs. We had some good times. We had some fun in the snow at points. We had some miserable points. We had some irritating points. We had some tempers running high moments. I got a bit snippy. It was one of those trips that it just makes your friendship bond a lot stronger, kind of a trip. And that's what it was. And I'm glad we had it. But I was also very, very glad it was done. And the moral of the whole story is we had a trip. It was fun. And I had some footage for you guys. I hope you enjoyed those footage of this trip. But we stuck it out as best we could. And we made it 5 days of camping, 5 nights, 6 days almost. We stuck it out. And the moral, like I keep saying, is just because the weather turns crappy, situations don't go well, tempers run high, you got to find the fun that's still in it. You got to find the good things, hunt those good things, if you will, and try and salvage something out of the trip and just not make it just be a completely miserable trip. For me and Rudy, yes, the trip sucked at the time. We have so many stories now to tell, whether it's around a campfire with other people. We were in some really gnarly situations. We have some new battle scars on the Jeeps. It was a trip to remember, far none. But thank you all so much for joining me in this makeshift adventure video. This is not the way it was planned to go, and it just did not go. No matter how many times I tried to make this video take off the ground, she just kept landing and going no. And partly it was mostly me, because it was so bad I just couldn't do it. But that's okay. But thank you all so much for joining me in this video. If you haven't, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, guys. You guys are what makes this channel happen, and it helps me out immensely. And I promise next adventure videos are way better than what this one was. I promise you that. I promise it is so much better. But until next time, guys, take care.